So the next step, having cleaned out the rim of the basket where the suspension sits and the ring where the spider sits in here, we have just cleaned out this. There's a very small gap in there, and you have to make sure that's clean, free of any rust or any debris, because if there's anything in the voice coil, it will cause the coil to rub, and obviously that will be amplified by the cone and sound absolutely awful and render it no good for anything. So first stage of the process is to get your shims, which I have cut to size here, and these, check they're clean, sit inside this voice coil gap like so, and then pop the other one in the end. Right, pop that on there, you might be able to see a little easier. So here I have a precision wound voice coil. So that's an 8 ohm driver, so it's an 8 ohm across the two pigtails there. These are very delicate, Kapton former, and just wire round the outside of the Kapton. And as you can see, they're very, very thin. Right, so have to be very careful, and they're quite delicate when they're not attached to the cone and the spider. So gently slide that over my shims and then face it so that the two pigtails are facing my connectors here where you will put the speaker wires. I've seen it done many times where people put a kit in the wrong way and then realise that the tails are over here instead of you know, and these things are not cheap. This is a vintage driver, so there's a little bit of an exception. The parts to do it are around 200 quid and have to be shipped over from the States. There's none in the UK, which is odd because it's a UK loudspeaker that I'm manufactured in Sussex as Turbosound unit. So I gently ease the voice coil down until I can see about 3, 4, maybe 5 millimeters proud of the magnet. I don't know if you can sort of see that. You can just about see the copper before it disappears down there into the gap. Right, now I'm just going to give it a turn to centre it. Right, now that seems to be in the right place. So I'm going to take the suspension spider, which is kind of a web, it's like Kevlar, but before it's hardened. So I'm just going to gently open up the gap so it's an easy fit over the voice coil. So I don't want to damage the pigtail wires, and that just sits over the top like that nicely, and when I push it down it doesn't move the voice coil. Pull that off. So that's taking the voice coil out now, which I didn't really want it to do. There. Let me just bring them out quickly. A few windings out, that's in the right place. Let's just try. Actually give it. So I'm just going to get the dry run. I'm going to mark. That's it. just going to mark on pull it off again. Obviously this has to be done exactly right, else all that will happen is when you use the driver and the voltage is applied to the coil and it tries to push the speaker going backwards and forwards, it will hit on the back stop of the magnet, which is clearly no good. Certainly not if you want to use it in anger, which most people do. To be fair, it's pretty much what they're made for, so. That all sits nicely. Yeah. So I now know where it's got to be on the voice coil, how far the spider's got to be up when I apply the adhesive, because that's pretty much your last opportunity, isn't it? So then I'll try and slip this off without pulling the coil out, which I've done. So first